All right, I'm on chapter 60 now, and there's a lot to digest. So, buckle up. First things first, listen. I am just smart enough not to be a dumbass. And when people are cryptic and they just say things that they know I'm not going to understand, it makes me like them less. I'm talking to you, Hoid. This scene where Kaladin goes out and he sees Hoid and he's playing this like flute thing, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to tell you the story." And then he just like says a bunch of weird things, and Kaladin's like, "I don't know what to do with that." I agree. I also don't know what to do with that. He even said like he started out as an idea, words on a page, and then named for a rock which was worthless after he wore it. What are you doing to me, dude? All right? This is one of those things, it's like the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland, or people that are like purposefully cryptic, and it makes me feel stupid. And I understand that's a me problem. But that happened, and then he's like, "Oh, I have lots of names." And he's like, "Well, you can call me Hoid, but that's the name of someone he was supposed to love. It's not even his real name? What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do? Now he's not even Hoid. What?" And then he tells Kaladin the story about Darethil, who fought Voidbringers, and then the Uvara people would like just stone the children to death because they weren't perfect. And then they found out afterwards that their emperor, who doesn't allow imperfection or failure, has been dead forever. And then they're like, oh no. And then they just started burning shit as well. So like, that was strange. And then Hoid said that he's there on Roshar, I assume. He said he was chasing an old acquaintance, but ends up hiding from him anyway. Again, what am I supposed to do with that? You're like, "Oh, I'm looking for my friend," but when I do find him, I end up hiding from him. It's like, okay? I'm way more confused than anything in this pursuit, which is not fun. So then, he gives Kaladin his flute, which actually I think is pretty cool. I like that, because then he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to play." He goes, "Figure it out." So obviously, that's really important. And then he says that he had an apprentice that he's rescued before. Sigsul is a world singer? What is a world singer? I know a world hopper is somebody who can hop between worlds. World singer? And like Sigsul knows just a bunch of stuff. That was a lot. And then Syl helping Kaladin has made her like kind of keep her consciousness. Well, not consciousness, but like her memory. Like she remembers who she is and stuff because her and Kaladin doing things. And Kaladin is turning into a Radiant? That's pretty wild. And very cool. Like, how is this happening? Is it on purpose? Was he always a Radiant and now he's like the power was dormant? You know? Is it like because of how he's lived his life, the blessings of the Radiance is now upon him? Or was it always there? He just didn't know? And how does Syl fit into all of this? Because she said that she was watching him before she showed up to him. And that's interesting. And then we go to a Dalinar chapter, which is great. Love me some Dalinar. And he's watching Adolin duel some people, and they're like, "Holy shit, this kid is good." He's like, "Yeah, I know, it's my son. He really loves this stuff." But I'm really glad that Dalinar told Alucard, like, his full thoughts. Because everyone's been calling him a coward. And he goes, "No, I'm not a coward at all. I just want to understand. I want to fight smarter." And he's like, "Oh, why didn't you just say that?" And I was like, "Why didn't you just listen, dude?" So that was cool. But we go back to Kaladin, and Gaz has been gone for a week. Not good. I don't like that. And then they show up and they're like, "Hey, by the way, Bridge 4, you guys are fantastic. You're going on every bridge run ever now," which is crazy. Oh, I forgot to mention that Dalinar and Sadeas were talking about like changing up their tactics a little bit because Dalinar's like just taking a while to get there. And he's like, "Well, Sadeas's bridge crews are phenomenal." And he's like, "Okay, well, how about you try to use my bridge crews and we'll get you there quicker." Which I was like, oh shit. Sadeas's bridge crew that's really, really good and really fast is Bridge 4. I mean, I'm sure there's other ones, but Bridge 4. So it's like, okay. So Kaladin and Dalinar are going to be in proximity. And I like that. I like that a lot. But, so then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go into the, we were supposed to train today, but Kaladin's like, well, if we're doing bridge runs all the time now, I should probably go and test out these powers I got. And so he goes into the chasm, and he just starts, like, trying shit. And he says the words, like the Radiant Creed, essentially. And I'm wondering, does saying the words activate the powers? Kind of like a Green Lantern type of thing? And, like, he infused Stormlight into a rock? So he can, like, control and disperse Stormlight? That's pretty cool. So I like that he's kind of testing it, but I'm also like, how far does this go? Like, what? Is he going to be able to fly? Because that would be awesome. That'd be very cool. And then the next chapter, which is the one that I'm currently on, Navani called her own son weak? I don't know how I feel about that. That feels important. Because, what? The king? You're calling him weak. And in the middle of their conversation, Dalinar just starts tripping balls, like, while she's talking. He's like, yeah, and then it's just like, she disappeared. And I was like, disappeared? What the shit? Where'd she go? And then he's like, he didn't even know the high storm was approaching. And I was like, that would suck so bad. Like, be in the middle of a conversation and all of a sudden just like, boom. Because what it must look like in the present, the real world where Dalinar is, he's just like in the middle of talking, just like, and they're like, oh shit, like, he's in front of people, Not good. Not good.